Being very entitled and controlling, narcissists have no difficulty stepping all over your personal boundaries. So that's why I put together an extensive video class called This Is Me. It has 25 videos, written documents, guided questions. I'm going to teach you how to have healthy boundaries. There's a link below, and I hope you'll find it to be quite therapeutic. I want to see if I can help you understand a very pervasive pattern that's on the inside of the narcissist that they'd rather you not know about. In fact, I know that they don't want you to know about it because they don't want to even admit it to themselves. Narcissists are eaten up with their own self-loathing, and I'm going to explain what all of that's about. But before we get there, I want you to just think about some of the loathing they may convey toward you. How commonly have you been on the receiving end of their contempt and disdain and condescension? And I dare say there's probably quite a bit of that. They can give it out quite easily. Or do you notice how easily angered they are? They can be triggered with small kind of matters. That anger is just right there beneath the surface, just looking for an excuse to come out. You'll notice that these individuals are incapable of reasonable discussions with you during moments of conflict or just simple differences. They're very willing, when I say very willing to criticize you and give you advice that you didn't ask for and point out all sorts of things about you that don't measure up. And you see, when you notice these kinds of tendencies and trends in them, I want you to just ask, do these tendencies simply arise out of a vacuum? And of course, the answer is no. This is part of a learned pattern that they carry on the inside of themselves, and it's a pattern of life that predates your entry into their life. Narcissists desperately want and need you to believe that you're the problem if they have any kind of difficulties. But the fact that they will treat you so unruly and so rudely is direct evidence that there's something going on inside of them that they don't want you to know about. So much of the matter of life that narcissists engage in is built upon displacement and projection. They displace their tensions onto you. They project their unfinished business onto you. Now, there's just a common sense kind of thing that we want to start with here, and that is every one of us has moments where we're just not at our best, and it's okay to simply say, yeah, I wasn't at my best. But narcissists have such a fragile ego that even admitting the simplest of things can trigger them. At a very hidden level. So usually it's subconscious, and when I say that, it's so habituated on the inside of themselves that they can't even access any kind of honesty about that. They strongly dislike who they are at the core. Now, they'll say they dislike who you are, but their loathing of their humanity is so powerful and so strong that it infuses their personality, and of course it becomes front and center as they engage with you. Now, as an evidence, I want you to think, when was the last time that a narcissist really showed a strong inclination to self-reflect, particularly when they have made some mistakes? You ever think of that? It's like, yeah, I need to think about that. They don't do that. Or when was the last time that you heard a narcissist admit their own patterns of weaknesses? And again, they might say, well, I made a mistake, but even then there's always a qualifier. But I'm talking about patterns. When do they admit their own patterns of weakness? Doesn't happen. Or when did you see them, or when was the last time you noticed that they wanted to take responsibility for the problems that they create? It's amazing that whatever problems they ever created by somebody else, they don't want to take responsibility there. When was the last time a narcissist apologized or made restitution? When was the last time that you had the privilege of the narcissist listening carefully to your concerns, or maybe even when was the last time that they actually said the two words, "You're right"? Of course, they'd choke if they had to say those things out loud. Instead, what you're going to find when you engage with narcissists is they're thinking there is no chance, there is no way in this world that I'm going to admit my internal pain and my internal contributions to the problems that are a part of my life. In fact, I refuse to even say that I have pain on the inside of me, other than to say I'm surrounded by a bunch of idiots. That's about as far as they'll go. In the narcissist mind, they think to themselves, if I admit flaws and weaknesses, you're going to use that against me. And of course, part of the rest of the story is like other people have done in my past. In the mind of the narcissist, they're thinking honesty, particularly when it comes to honesty about my whole self, it's overrated. I would prefer wearing my mask. It's much safer. And then they'll also think, and your need to talk about weaknesses and flaws illustrates just exactly how inadequate you are. You're not a very strong person if you admit weaknesses. And of course, again, projection. You see, let's just go to that honesty place that they can't go to and say every one of us, myself included, every one of us carries some sort of inner tension. And we have personal inconsistencies. And healthy individuals will say, well, I'm going to take ownership of that. I'm going to examine it. I'm going to see what it's about. And I'm going to do something to make it as minimal as I can possibly do, because I have other higher priorities that I want to aim for. The narcissist is like, oh, no. I despise my humanity. And if I have to admit my flaws, it humiliates me. Or I'll say, I know that I'm going to be judged, or I'm embarrassed by the fact that I have the potential for lots of blunders. You see, early in life, these individuals receive the message from somewhere. You should feel ashamed for your inadequacies. And the narcissist might think within themselves, well, I actually do feel ashamed for me being me, but I can't afford to admit that. And so they go into this heavy cover up, and we refer to that as their alternate reality, their false self. And despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary, they try to put on a veneer that says, I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm tough. Nobody's going to get to me. And in their minds, they've rationalized to themselves, I make a lot of sense, unlike you. Or if you would just prioritize your life like me, our world would be a better place. In no way am I ever going to pretend that I'm a weakling. If you need me to do so, I'll prove to you that I'm not a weakling. And so they'll just come at you with all of their overpowering kinds of ways. So a key insight into the narcissist is for you to realize that this self-loathing has created in them what we might refer to as distorted reality. There's a defense mechanism you may have heard of. It's what we call reaction formation. And basically, reaction formation means that you respond to your own internal anxiety by seeking out the opposite. A classic illustration is, let's say somebody grew up dirt poor, so as an adult, all they can think about is making a whole lot of money. When you have someone who grows up with a great deal of shame about their flaws and their humanity, the opposite of that is for them to present themselves later on as the standard bearer. I'm just fine. I'll do whatever I take to be dominant. They must be in that role that says, I don't have the problems that the rest of you idiots out there have. Now, I want to just kind of give you a couple of illustrations to show you how afraid they are and how loathing they are. And for example, I spoke with a man who called out his own brother as an adult for having sexually abused their little sister. He found out about it in a roundabout kind of way, and he sat down and talked with the brother, and the brother just completely blew up. Now, you can see that in a case like that brother who had been the abuser, and as an adult, he continued on in very difficult ways. It was like, oh, I hate myself for that. But instead of saying, I've got to take responsibility for some of the things in my past and how it's influenced me now, no, all you're going to get is hate and anger and tension. I recall a woman sitting down with her mother, and talking about the many messages of shame that she put onto her as she grew up. And it's like, and it continues now, and I want it to stop. And again, the mother just goes into this rage, proving the lady's point. It's kind of like, no, I can't talk about that. I hate that side of me. Or I recall talking to a man who pulled a friend of his aside and confronted him about a series of lies and deceptions that he had found out. And that friend just refused to talk with him. It's like, you will not get any kind of confession from me. I hate that side of me. That's how it works. And so they have to present themselves as being beyond whatever difficulties you will see in them. And like I say, even when the evidence is glaringly obvious, it's like, I don't go into that space and you are not allowed to go into that place. I hate that side of myself, but I won't say that. And so there they are. They're stuck and they remain in their pattern and they try to present themselves as dominant. It's deep, it's pervasive, and they can't pull out of it. So you might be thinking toward that narcissist. What you don't know is I already see so many of these flaws and negatives on the inside. And frankly, I'd be willing to walk alongside of you if you're trying to figure out how to become the much better alternative. But when you persist in blaming or even terrorizing people like myself because you so loathe who you are, I'm not doing myself any favors, nor am I doing you any favors by participating in that kind of relating. I can't do that. I'm sorry for your self-loathing, but that's something you are going to have to come to terms with on your own. Now, I hope this gives you some awareness of what you might be dealing with. Keep in mind that narcissists desperately need you to be the foil as they try to cover up their own loathing of themselves. The reason I put these videos out is I hope it gives you an educational thing to draw upon. If you've not already hit our subscribe button, I would encourage you to do so. We're going to keep more coming towards you. I hope there's a cumulative effect as you continue to watch the videos. Likewise, there can be a need for you to seek therapy. These illustrations that I gave you, there are times when some of the repercussion of their self-loathing can be so strong that you need somebody that can help you sift it out. That's why I am gladly sponsored by the people at BetterHelp.com. They're a whole team of licensed professional therapists who can help you and assist you in this kind of way. We have a link below. You can go through it, answer a few questions, and they'll allow you to pick a therapist that you would like to work with. Please, if you're dealing with something like this, get the assistance that you know that would be helpful for you. Likewise, I have courses that are loaded on our website, and they're very extensive. It's like signing up for an online class. Each course has 25 or more videos, and each video has written documentation and questions. We have Ready, Set, Connect about making good connections with people. This is me about establishing your boundaries with these difficult individuals. Free to be, finding yourself despite their control over you. We also have my webinars that have been presented. We have my podcast. We have many articles that are on the website. And then also you could avail yourself to my books, etc. Okay, narcissists will say, I loathe you. When in fact, the more honest response from the inside of them would say, I have such a loathing for myself that I try to avoid that by putting it onto you. They can't have that kind of honesty. But I'm hoping as you see through it, you'll not get caught in all the snares that go along with that. And in doing so, you can separate yourself off from their own misery and become a person of steadiness, which ultimately can allow you to be the person of peace that you wish that they could be. But nonetheless, in their absence, you can still be your own person of peace.